Hi everyone, welcome to English Compass. I'm so glad you clicked on this video. Today, I'm telling you a story that will teach you real English, real conversations, real situations that happen every single day. This is a story about a man named David. David wanted a better job, a job that would change his life, and he had to do something terrifying. He had to go to a job interview in English, not in his native language, in English. And what happened? You'll be shocked, but more importantly, you'll learn how to handle job interviews in English. You'll learn real questions, real answers, real conversations that actually happen in job interviews. So are you ready? Let's start this incredible story. David is a 28-year-old man. He lives in Brazil. He speaks Portuguese. He also speaks some English, but he's not confident. He's nervous about speaking English in front of native speakers. But David has a dream. His dream is to work for an international company, a company that does business all over the world. He wants to move up in his career. He wants to make more money. He wants to be successful. One day, David sees a job posting. The posting is from a big company, a very famous company. They are looking for a project manager. David knows he can do this job. He has the skills. He has the experience. The only problem, the interview is in English. But David is brave. He decides to apply. He submits his resume. His resume is very good. It shows all his experience. It shows all his achievements. He sends it on a Monday morning. And then something amazing happens. On Wednesday, David gets an email. The email is from the company. It says, "Dear David, thank you for applying. We want to interview you. Please come to our office on Friday at 2 p.m. We will interview you for 1 hour." David is happy and nervous at the same time. He has only 2 days to prepare. 2 days. He is panicking a little bit. He thinks, what will they ask me? What will I say? What if I don't understand them? But then David remembers something important. He remembers that the interviewer is human, just a human, not a monster, not a person who wants to hurt him, just a person who wants to learn about him, who wants to know if he's a good fit for the job. So David decides to prepare. He practices. He looks at common job interview questions. He writes down answers. He practices speaking. He practices listening. He watches videos of job interviews in English. He prepares his best clothes, a nice shirt, a nice pair of pants, nice shoes. He wants to look professional. It's Friday. It's 1:45 p.m. David is in the lobby of the company. He is early. Being early is good. It shows respect. It shows responsibility. The receptionist says, "Hi David, how are you doing today?" David says, "I'm good, thank you. I'm a little nervous, but I'm ready." The receptionist smiles and says, "Don't be nervous. They're very nice people. They will be with you in a few minutes." David sits down. He waits. He takes deep breaths, in and out, in and out. He looks at his shoes. He looks at the walls. He looks at the clock. Time is moving slowly. Then a woman walks towards him. She's smiling. She looks friendly. She says, "Hi David, I'm Sarah. I'm the hearing manager. Thanks so much for coming today." David stands up. He shakes her hand. He says, "Hi Sarah, nice to meet you. Thank you for giving me this opportunity." They walk to the conference room. It's a big room. There's a long table. There are 2 other people sitting at the table. Sarah sits across from David. The other 2 people sit next to her. Sarah says, "So David, before we start, do you have any questions for us?" David says, "No, not right now, I'm ready." Sarah nods and says, "Great, let's begin. So tell us about yourself. What's your background? What experience do you have?" David takes a breath. He speaks slowly and clearly. He says, "Well, my name is David Silva. I'm from Brazil. I've been working in project management for 5 years. I started my career in a small company. I was a junior project manager. I did very basic tasks. I managed small projects, but I learned a lot. Then after 2 years, I moved to a bigger company. There, I managed bigger projects, projects with bigger budgets, projects with bigger teams. I managed up to 15 people. I worked with international teams too, so I'm comfortable working with people from different cultures, different languages, different ways of thinking. In my current job, I manage our most important project. This project is worth $5 million. It involves 3 countries, Brazil, Mexico, and Canada, and I'm proud to say we're on budget and on schedule. The project is very successful. The clients are very happy. My boss is very happy. Sarah nods and smiles. She says, "That's impressive, David, very impressive. Now I have a question. Tell us about a time when you faced a big challenge, a difficult problem. How did you handle it?" David pauses for a moment. He's thinking. Then he says, "That's a great question. Yes, I have faced many challenges, but one challenge stands out in my mind. It was about 2 years ago. I was managing a project with a tight deadline. We had only 6 months to complete the project, but after 3 months we realized something. We realized we were behind schedule. We had problems, technical problems. We had bugs in the software. The software wasn't working correctly. We had to fix these bugs, but fixing them took time. And time was running out, so I had a big problem. The deadline was coming, but we weren't ready. So what did I do? I called a meeting. I gathered the whole team. I gathered the developers, the designers, the testers. I said, "We have a problem, but we can solve this problem together. I need everyone to think about solutions. I need everyone to work hard. We can do this." And you know what? The team rose to the challenge. Everyone worked extra hours. Everyone was committed. We organized the work better. We fixed the bugs. We finished on time. Actually, we finished 2 days early. The client was amazed. Everyone was happy. And that's when I learned something important. I learned that good leadership isn't about knowing all the answers. It's about bringing people together. It's about inspiring them. It's about trusting them. One of the other interviewers, a man named Tom, asks, "David, that's a wonderful story. But tell me, what's your biggest weakness? What's something you need to improve?" David smiles a little. This is a tricky question, but David is honest. He says, "That's a very fair question. Everyone has weaknesses. I'm not perfect. One of my weaknesses is that I sometimes get too focused on details. I care about the small things. I care that everything is perfect. And sometimes this can slow down progress. Sometimes I need to see the bigger picture instead of getting stuck in the details. But I'm aware of this weakness, and I'm working on it. I've taken a course on strategic thinking. I read books about seeing the bigger picture, and I try to practice this every day. I try to step back and see the whole situation, not just the details. I ask my team for feedback. I ask them, am I focusing too much on small things? And they help me adjust. Sarah says, "I like your honesty, David. That's good. Now let's talk about this role. This job is a project manager for our international division. You would manage projects that span across 3 continents. You would work with teams in different time zones. You would work with people who speak different languages. How would you handle that? What experience do you have with that?" David says, "Actually, as I mentioned earlier, I already do this. In my current role, I manage a project across 3 countries. I coordinate meetings at different times of the day because of the time zones. It's challenging sometimes. When it's 9 a.m. in Brazil, it's 6 p.m. in Canada. So meetings are difficult to schedule, but I've learned to be flexible. I've learned to communicate clearly in writing. I send detailed emails. I send clear instructions. I make videos explaining things. This way, people can understand even if they can't attend the live meetings." And about language, yes, working internationally means English is very important. Sometimes my team members aren't native English speakers. Some people speak Spanish. Some speak Portuguese, so I try to speak clearly. I try to use simple words. I try to make sure everyone understands. I ask, "Do you understand? Do you have any questions?" I make sure communication is very clear. Sarah asks, "That's great. Now, why do you want to work for our company? We're a big company, we're well known, we're successful, but why specifically us? Why not another company?" David takes a moment. He's thought about this question before, he says. That's a very important question, and I have a sincere answer. I didn't apply to just any company, I applied to your company specifically. Why? Because I respect what you do. I've followed your company for 3 years, I've watched your projects, I've seen how you treat your employees, I've read about your company culture, and I'm impressed. You don't just care about making money. You care about making a difference. You care about quality. You care about your people. I want to work for a company that I respect. I want to work for a company that aligns with my values. And your company does. That's why I'm here. That's why I want to work for you specifically. Not because you're big and famous, but because you're good. Because you're doing things the right way. Sarah smiles widely. She says, David, those are wonderful answers. We're very impressed. We have one last question. If we offer you this job, when can you start? David feels his heart jump. He's excited, but he's careful. He says, that's wonderful to hear. I'm very interested in this opportunity. I'm ready to start as soon as possible. I would need to give my current employer 2 weeks' notice. So 2 weeks from now would be ideal, but if you need me sooner, I can try to work something out. Sarah says, that's fair. That's professional. Well, David, thank you so much for coming today. We'll discuss among ourselves and get back to you within a week. You should hear from us by next Friday. David stands up. He shakes everyone's hands. He says, thank you so much. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for listening to me. I'm very grateful. I hope to hear good news from you soon. David walks out of the interview room. As he walks through the lobby, he feels a huge sense of relief. He did it. He didn't panic. He answered the questions well. He spoke English. He communicated his ideas. He impressed them. David leaves the building. He goes home. He waits. The wait is difficult. Every day he checks his email. Nothing. 2 days, nothing. 3 days, nothing. 4 days, nothing. 5 days, still nothing. Then on Friday morning, David gets an email. The subject line says, job offer. David's hands are shaking. He opens the email, and it says, Dear David, we are pleased to offer you the position of project manager for our international division. Your qualifications are excellent. Your interview was impressive. Your attitude is perfect for our company. We are excited to have you join our team. The salary is. David stops reading for a moment. He feels tears in his eyes, happy tears. He did it. He got the job. He spoke English in a job interview. He impressed native speakers. He achieved his dream. And now, let me tell you what you learned from David's story. David learned that job interviews aren't about being perfect. They're about being real, about being honest, about showing who you are. He learned that native speakers don't expect you to speak perfectly. They expect you to communicate, to explain your ideas, to answer their questions. He learned that confidence comes from preparation. He prepared, he practiced, he was ready, and that confidence showed. He learned that your experience matters, your skills matter, your personality matters. Your English doesn't have to be perfect. What matters is what you can offer. And you learned something too. You learned real English, job interview English, the English that actually matters, the English you need for real situations. You learned vocabulary. You learned how to answer questions. You learned how to speak about your experience. You learned how to be professional in English. This story teaches you real English, not textbook English, real conversations, real situations, real people. Thank you so much for listening to David's story. Thank you for practicing English with me. Your English is getting better every time you listen. Remember, the best way to improve is to listen multiple times. Listen once for understanding. Listen twice to repeat. Listen 3 times to practice speaking. Listen 4 times to focus on pronunciation. Listen 5 times to speak naturally. This method is called shadowing, and it works. It's scientifically proven to improve your English fluency. Subscribe to English Compass for more stories like this, more real English, more practical lessons, more inspiration. I believe in you. Your English is getting better every day, every word, every sentence. Thank you for learning with me. See you in the next story.